All right, bring it in.
Coach Collier, I am so impressed. In addition to the scholastic standards at Georgia Tech, for the women's volleyball team to make it into the NCAA Elite Eight is amazing.
Well, and we tied our own record, Faye. We had 4 players in the All-ACC academic team, so our success is due to way more than just pure athleticism.
Like calibrating volleyball inflation pressure to achieve optimal mechanical response.
Or calculating coefficient of friction on our high-tech polyvinyl chloride playing surface in order to get just the right slide.
And not to mention using calculus and trigonometry to optimize all the angles and arcs in almost every aspect of the game.
Really? I guess math is important.
Oh yeah, don't even get them started writing equations.
Incredible.
Oh, and there's one more thing, Faye.
What's that?
We absolutely kill it on the court.
Yeah. Put me in the game, coach.
Go.
Yeah. Oh, that hurts. I'll just go get it.
I guess she needs some volleyball lessons too.
You gotta help her out.
Live from the campus of the Georgia Institute of Technology, it's the 2022 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize. Tonight, Georgia Tech's leading student innovators compete for $35,000 in prizes and patents. And now, please welcome your host, from CBS Sunday Morning and NPR, Emmy winner, Faith Saley.
Ready? Yeah! Thank you. Thank you, and give it up for that band, or licensed music track, as the case may be. Buzz, you are really hogging the stage tonight. Welcome to the Georgia Tech InVenture Prize. I'll be honest, I'm a bit nervous. You're not. It's been a whole 2 years since I've hosted this event in front of a live audience here at the First Center. But then I remembered y'all might be a little rusty too. I mean, it's probably been a while since you were part of a live audience, right? Yeah, so let's all shake out the rust together, okay? I will suggest a few scenarios and you react appropriately. You ready? Okay, scenario number 1, I introduce one of the teams and you cheer wildly. Okay, that's good. Just remember, this isn't the Masters, you know? Feel free to add a whoop or a modest squawk or some jazz hands even, you know? It's a celebration. Okay, scenario number 2. Is he doing something funny behind me? Scenario number 2, I say something really funny and you all laugh hysterically, okay? Okay, come on. Yeah, I mean, it could happen. All right, scenario number 3, I say something super mind-bogglingly brainy, and it confuses some of you so much that, okay, who am I kidding? This is Georgia Tech. This place invented brainy. This is the 14th annual InVenture Prize at Georgia Tech. Now, the number 14 is a square pyramidal number, which, as I'm sure this audience knows, is a number you get by counting stacked spheres in a pyramid with a squared base, right? Now, the study of these numbers dates back to the times of Archimedes, which is also the last time you could get a date by referencing square pyramidal numbers. By the way, if you divide the number 14 by the lucky number 7, you get 2, which is the number of hosts we have for you tonight. So, that's right, so enough numerology, let's kick things over to my lovely co-host, Ashley Mengwasser, who has all the deets on the prizes being awarded tonight, as well as the People's Choice voting. Take it away, Ashley.
Thanks, Faith. Thank you, audience. Thank you. Thank you. No rust as far as I can see here, so let's talk about those prizes in tonight's People's Choice voting. This year, the team who takes home the first place prize will also take home $20,000, as well as entry into Georgia Tech's Create X startup launch program. Our second place team will leave also with a tidy sum, $10,000. Both first and second place prizes also include legal assistance with a patent filing, and that is sponsored by the Georgia Tech Research Corporation. Those 2 prize packages will be decided by our panel of expert judges, but all of our competitors are also hoping to win tonight's People's Choice Award. And that's where you come in. This is a $5,000 prize voted on by you, audience. That award is sponsored by the Georgia Center of Innovation for Manufacturing. Voting won't open until all 6 teams have presented their innovations, and at that point, you'll be able to vote either by texting your team's keyword to 415-965-7445, or you can vote online at gpb.org/vote. Don't worry if you didn't write that down. We got you. We'll keep reminding you of those details throughout the program. We're friendly like that. And speaking of friendly, let's hand things back to Faith so that we can meet our judges. Take it away, Faith.
Thank you, Ashley. We are so honored to be joined by a panel of 3 esteemed judges, the first of whom is the Vice President of Georgia Tech's own Enterprise Innovation Institute, the largest, oldest, and most successful university-based economic development organization in the country. Please welcome David Bridges. Currently a board director of Intercontinental Hotels Group, our next judge is a former COO for the City of Atlanta and president of Supply Chain Innovation at Georgia Pacific. She also works to promote diversity as a co-chair on the New York Stock Exchange Board Advisory Council. We are so pleased to be joined by Daria Faruqi. Now, our third judge will look familiar to fans of the InVenture Prize. In 2017, he founded his company UltraView Archery while an undergrad at Georgia Tech. 1 year later, he won the Georgia Tech InVenture Prize, and since then, UltraView has experienced over 300% year-over-year revenue growth and was recognized as one of Regional Inc.'s 5,000 fastest growing private companies. In fact, the 5th fastest private growing company in our home state of Georgia. Let's say hello to Georgia Tech's own Colby Hanley. Thank you all for being here. Colby, it's nice to see you on this side of the stage. So we've met our judges. Now let's meet our first team. We all use drones to spy on our neighbors, right? Oh, it's just me. Okay, in any case, our next team is using drones to save lives, which is good too. Let's meet Team Reflex.
Hi, my name is Usman Jamal, and with Nevin Gilbert, we are Team Reflex. Every day, 1,000 Americans across the United States face cardiac arrest. And unfortunately, 90% of these people don't survive. This is due to long emergency response times and not receiving an AED shock. In urban areas, the average medical response time is about 8 minutes, and this problem is exacerbated in rural areas where the average response time is about 22 minutes. Reflex has found a way to solve this problem. Nevin and I have been working on Reflex for the past 3 years through the Georgia Tech Grand Challenges program, where we explored problem discovery, customer discovery, solution discovery, and more. Reflex got its name because we think emergency response times should be as fast as a human reflex. And now, we're ready to take Reflex to the market and start saving lives.
Driven drone developers on a mission to save lives. Take it away, Team Reflex.
Judges, on the table are 10 cards. For now, please take one and keep them face down. These cards represent your chances of surviving cardiac arrest. Now let's imagine that you begin to experience chest pains, difficulty breathing, and suddenly pass out. At most, you have 10 minutes to receive life-saving medical intervention before your chances of surviving are 0. What do? Luckily, the Reflex team section has doctors in attendance, and this building has an AED. But what happens when this occurs when you're out on a hike, stuck in rush hour traffic, or even right at home? When every passing second matters, do you want your life to be determined by the number of traffic lights between you and the ambulance? Judges, now if you could please flip over your cards and show myself and the audience. Congratulations, Mr. Hanley. You're among the 10% of people that receive the right help at the right time, and you survived cardiac arrest today. Ms. Faruqi and Mr. Bridges, unfortunately, you're among the 90% of people that do not receive the right help at the right time, and you did not survive cardiac arrest today. From our interviews from first responders and other subject matter experts, we learned that they need a solution that is cost-effective and a solution that helps them function under the same capacity using the same resources. Now, a large majority of 911 calls are made by bystanders, and studies show, given the right equipment and proper guidance, bystanders can increase the chances of survivability by at least twofold. Bystanders are the key. People like you and I can save lives. All we need is the right tools at the right time, and Reflex empowers just that. Reflex is an emergency medical drone system with patent-pending technology, and we aim to deliver life-saving medical equipment within the critical intervention period. As you can see, we've demonstrated the ability to remotely deliver a payload. This has been made easier through our partnership with Heart Hero, who are providing us with exclusive access to one of the lightest AEDs in the world that is not yet available to the American market. Further, we've been working towards signing multiple development partners. For example, for the past few years, we've been working with the Grand Canyon National Park and their rangers to design a system that solves their problems. To facilitate all of this development, we've signed a partnership with a drone manufacturer whose platform can support Reflex's needs. But it doesn't just stop there. With the cost effectiveness and improved efficiency of this system, Reflex and the video you're seeing has garnered attention from EMS programs across the nation and even as far as Europe. This is just the tip of the iceberg for Reflex. Using drones to deliver medical equipment ensures faster response times, better connection with professional care, and a consistent distribution of medical equipment. We have found the emergency, and this time we'll be the ones responding. Lucky for you, Mr. Bridges and Ms. Faruqi, we're within the critical intervention period, and I'm reviving you now for questions.
Phew! Nobody needs to revive your fans down here. I suggested we actually test the reflexes of each team with a fun game of dodgeball, but everyone thought it made more sense to let our judges conduct the Q&A. Duria, let's start with you.
First of all, you're solving such an important problem. My question relates from my experience overseeing public safety. Two things which are true for 911 calls often are: one, it is difficult for the caller to describe exactly what their location is, and oftentimes they don't know the address because they may be on a corner or wherever. And two, a bystander is often not a family member. So how would you ensure that you get the equipment via drone to the right location, and when it gets there, the bystander is willing to actually perform life-saving treatment on whoever the victim is?
Fantastic question. So to start off, the location problem has actually been solved, and actually almost majority of the 911 jurisdictions are using technology that now enables data from the cell phone to locate the calls. And so the idea is, with the software dispatch, as soon as that call comes in, that's integrated into the drone deployment software, and we know exactly where to take the drone and what to deliver. And then the second part of your question with bystanders may not be family members. So like I mentioned, majority of the 911 calls are made by bystanders, and bystanders are actually protected under the Good Samaritan law, meaning that they're protected by the law, of course, if they're acting out of good intent to save the person's life. And 911 dispatchers are trained to talk bystanders through how to start the treatment process, of course, given they have the right equipment.
Colby?
So,
wait, you don't want to take up his time with clapping. Go.
Drones are an emerging technology, and I think one of the interesting things with emerging technologies is the business model that's going to be used to monetize that. You've seen large companies like Amazon try to monetize the convenience of drones. I was wondering if you could maybe speak on your business model and how you're going to make money doing this.
Absolutely. So Reflex's business model is modeled off of private ambulance companies, which means that we'll be leasing the hardware and the drones to the jurisdiction, we'll be contracting pilots to oversee these operations, and then lastly, with the dispatch software, we'll have a recurring subscription model for the dispatch software.
We've got 2 minutes left for questions. David?
Yeah. So I appreciate your presentation, and while I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, what about someone who's indoors? Or what about somebody who's indoors and alone? So the technology you're already piloting at the Grand Canyon, which makes a lot of sense, is that really the first target to prove out your concept? And then what do you do about these indoor emergencies?
Absolutely. So in the case of people being indoors, if the bystander is present, the drone would have to deploy or drop the package as close as possible at a safe location to then start the first response process earlier. And then your second the second part of that
Oh,
question.
just in terms of you were looking at outdoor applications for your first pilot, the Grand Canyon. Is this something that is part of your business model to really focus on outdoor activities and events in the beginning?
That is a large part of this market, right? So our target market is rural 911. Grand Canyon is a great example of where these emergencies happen. But we're planning to move to the rural EMS that services 60 million Americans. And then the idea is to then bring this technology to urban 911 that services about 270 million Americans. With the indoors application, Reflex has conceptualized an app that allows people to request help. And so that would be getting at that.
We've got about 25 seconds left for one more question.
What would someone need on the other end to be able to seamlessly get directions? You mentioned some visual instruction to administer the life-saving treatment using the equipment. How would that work?
Yeah, so call takers are trained to speak from audio, so bystanders can start that first response process earlier. With AEDs, there's audio instructions from the AED itself.
And now I have to cut you off. I wish you could drone on and on. Thank you, judges. And now Ashley is standing by with a reflex test of her own, also known as an interview. Ashley?
Faith, I have Dr. Jeffrey Davis, a mentor and professor of Team Reflex, with his reflections, you like that, Jeff, on his team. And he does go by Jeff, so don't mind if I do. Jeff, what do you find remarkable about this team? I know you've noticed some things about them right from the start.
You know, I'd have to say it's their perseverance. So we always tell our teams, if you're going to be successful, build a network of people, a network of knowledge, and never give up. And when this team was a freshman team, they were all over it. They interviewed a ton of people. They got a great insight into their problem space. And now that they're a junior team, they have this great relationship with the National Park Service. I mean, it's incredible that the first lives that they could be saving are hikers in the Grand Canyon. I love this team.
And who knows where they'll go next?
Who knows?
Who knows? Well, they could go right into a People's Choice Award, but that is up to you, audience. If you feel Team Reflex, I can't say reflex. I have no speech reflexes tonight. If you feel like Team Reflex is reflexing on them, you know what that means, Jeff. Text keyword reflex to 415-965-7445 when voting opens later in the show. I can only hope that the next team reflects on us just as well as this one, Faith.
Thank you, Ashley. Tonight's second presenter isn't wearing a top hat or cape, nor is she sawing Ashley in half, but her innovation is bringing some awe-inspiring magic. Here is Team Magic Crop.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm Team Magic Crop. Universities and corporations all over the world are constantly having to create and update staff, faculty, and even employee directory sites. With people coming in and out of the company all the time, they have to do this on a routine basis. But actually creating these directory websites is extremely tedious. Between having to make sure that all the pictures are the same aspect ratio, one person's face isn't too close to the camera, and even making sure that the eye level is all aligned. It takes a website designer hours to do this, and it's an extremely annoying task. And that's exactly why I created Magic Crop. I'm a sophomore here at Tech studying computer science and really specializing in the artificial intelligence realm. The future of Magic Crop is extremely bright. There are an endless number of features that we can continue to add and really cater to all of our customers' needs to make sure that this product is really meant for them.
Well, a magician is never supposed to explain her tricks, but let's see if we can get Megan to share some insight about what makes Magic Crop so special. Megan?
Headshots. Every single person in this room has had to create a headshot at some point or another. It's extremely tedious and takes up so much time. But even as we move towards a more virtual environment, headshots aren't going anywhere. If anything, they're used more because they're used in every single industry: education, media, government, and corporations. Take Accenture, for example, a corporate company with over 600,000 employees worldwide. Every single day, they're onboarding new employees, but now this process is virtual. That doesn't eliminate their need for headshots. They still need them for IDs, company directories, and employee profiles. But here's the problem. Employees aren't going into the office anymore to get their headshot taken. Instead, they're submitting a picture that they might have taken at home, or even a group picture, and then someone in HR has to sit there and crop all of these non-uniform pictures into uniform headshots. That takes so much time and unnecessary effort. But that's exactly why I created Magic Crop. Magic Crop is an application that uses the power of artificial intelligence to automatically detect key points on the person's face and then visually align it to the rule of thirds line so you get the perfect looking headshot every single time. This is done in seconds and no picture is ever sent to a third-party server. Let's say that this is a group of 3 employees at InVenture. Tony, can we have the video playing? The first headshot is a headshot itself. The second picture that we have in this group is a full body picture, and the last one is half of the body. Taking all of these and making them into uniform headshots would take so much time because of how non-uniform they are. Drag and drop into Magic Crop, and by the time I even finish this sentence, it's all cropped right there. Look at how the eyes are all aligned at the same eye level. The face takes up roughly the same amount of space as well. Also notice that this second picture was a full body picture. It's a non-pixelated headshot now, because during the time it was cropping, AI was also being used to automatically sharpen it so you don't have to worry about pixelation issues. Now with this group of 4 people, drag and drop, and just like that, you get 4 headshots. The power of Magic Crop is endless. Right now, Magic Crop is in its beta testing phase with over 500 monthly users. It's being continuously used across campus by different departments and different campus organizations as well. I couldn't have summed it up better than the communications director here at Tech. Your product has been receiving high praises across different campuses, different directories across campus. Thank you so much for making our lives easier as well as our directory updates easier. It once took the CSE department 4 hours to make a headshot directory. Now with Magic Crop, it takes them 2 minutes. As we move out of the beta testing phase, the next stage is to take it to market by creating a licensed software that can be sold to customers. Creating headshots is tedious. Magic Crop is the solution. Here's a QR code so you all can try as well. Thank you so much, and I would love to take any questions.
I love this. And when this takes off and you make a lot of money, will you become a selfie-made millionaire? Is that how it works? All right, can you crop out the bad puns? Sorry. Judges, do your thing. David.
Yes, so great presentation. Congratulations on your journey to this point. I know it's been long. I wanted to ask you, first of all, can AI even fix my face? I'm not sure. I'm worried about that.
You're asking for a friend.
It may kick me out completely. But in listening to your presentation, is your target an individual person who might want to do this, as well as a corporate, maybe HR office or a website developer? So what is the target? And how are you going to grow that target?
Yes, so the main target is definitely corporations because they have to continuously add new people to their websites. They're constantly onboarding new people, which means they need new headshots. So corporations definitely have the biggest use, and that's where most of the effort will take place. But then, even as individuals, we still need headshots here and there, for social media, things like that, even passport pictures. So first, by creating a licensed software that's sold directly to corporations, but also a mobile application that we as individuals can use at our fingertips, that's also a money-making product.
What's going to be your price point, do you think? And 2, do you have a patent? How do you protect this technology from not becoming the next feature in Google Photos?
Definitely. So in terms of price point, like I mentioned, a license-based software that's sold at different prices based on the number of end users. So for one individual, that would be $250 for a corporation. But for an enterprise license that has an unlimited amount of users, $10,000. But even as individuals, a mobile application for $299 is also reasonable. And in terms of your second question about how to protect this, that's exactly why I'm here at InVenture. As soon as I end InVenture, I would love to work with the legal team here to find out what exactly I can patent on this application, because it is all my own, but I do need to work with the legal team to figure out what specifically can be patented.
Colby?
So first off, congratulations, because you have a fantastic product, and 500 monthly users is a big deal.
Thank
so
you.
Congrats. I hated this question when I was in your shoes, but to me this seems like something, once it's kind of set up and done, there's not much more work that needs to be done on it. Do you have an exit strategy, or what is your exit strategy?
Definitely. I actually think with Magic Crop, the possibilities are endless. There are so many features that can continuously be added. For example, one thing that we can do right away is background versus foreground removal. So a lot of times we need a solid background, but if they're having something in the background, they don't have that solid background. So adding that feature, detecting different other facial key points like ears, because sometimes for government passport pictures, you need to be showing your ears. So really with headshots, there are an endless number of capabilities that you can continue to add, as well as different editing softwares as well. So as far as Magic Crop goes, there's so much that can be done, and every single year we can continue adding a new set of features so that the license is also renewed so we can also get money that way.
Could you also invent some technology that makes people's online dating profile pictures really look like them? That would be
That's
magic.
the next step.
Anyone have another question?
So I didn't realize actually how much of a need this was. Could you just really go down the list of your potential customers? There's corporations, governments. How do you look at a government as a customer? Is that a big customer of yours that you forecast?
Definitely, because they need IDs for every single one of their employees. And actually, since they're not going into the office anymore, they still do need those physical IDs. So for each of those employees, they would need an ID. So that's another customer base. You also have education. So yearbook pictures are always being made. I remember my senior year, I wasn't able to get my senior portrait taken. I had to submit it from home. So that's another use for Magic Crop. And then as well as individuals.
We have about 40 seconds left. 30 seconds.
Yeah, and so you talked about maybe talking to a legal team about how do you protect that. So let's say you do have some protection. How do you still fend off people who knock off your product, or Me Too might have bigger brand names like Adobe, Photoshop, or something?
Right, so with the bigger brand names right now, they don't do this automatic software. So the proprietary technology would be the artificial intelligence training that's being done, as well as the alignment that's currently not being done. So if we get that in the market first and patent it, then these other companies that maybe do some other type.
I have to crop this. I'm sorry. I have to be fair to everybody. I'm so sorry. Thank you, judges. Now let's learn a little bit more about Magic Crop by finding out who is casting a spell on Ashley.
Well, Faith, it's Samuel here. I'm in the presence of Georgia Tech royalty. Roll out the gold carpet for Samuel Ellis. He's the undergraduate student body president. A user like me who can sometimes misuse technology really relates to Samuel here. Samuel, how is Magic Crop facilitating?
The road to the Georgia Tech InVenture Prize always holds something new. And this year was no different.
They need a robot to go through and find installation problems.
This project is sponsored by an Austrian plastics manufacturer.
In short, it's going to change the world.
The 2022 competition began in person with the kickoff event last September.
Welcome to the Georgia Tech InVenture Prize.
Here, students were able to learn what to expect from those who had traveled this road before them. Even last year's winner stopped by virtually to offer some advice.
Every single step of the way was unexpected, but really, really rewarding.
More participants were added at the 2021 Capstone Design Expo, and a few teams were given a golden ticket to the semifinal round.
You just won a golden ticket. How did that make you feel?
Awesome, we're so excited.
Meanwhile, nearly 50 other teams prepared for the preliminary round, hosted virtually on Gatherly, a social platform company created by Georgia Tech students as part of CreateX. With the field whittled in half, remaining contestants were given the opportunity to practice their pitches at a workshop where they could learn from judges as well as their fellow students.
Give us a story, give us a narrative.
1 week later,
you're going to have to get your hands dirty here.
Remaining teams faced one more round of grueling questions.
You're trying to do way too much in one app, right?
Why does it also not exist in the fraternity house already?
Trying to ensure the judges that they deserved a spot in the finals.
You need the specula to go into the ear.
There are currently no products that address these problems.
Because it has to be competitive.
6 teams rose above the rest of the field, impressing the judges and earning their spot in the final round. And after several months and countless challenges, tonight we finally find out who will win the 2022 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize.
Okay, this is the magic of live TV, everybody. I don't even know if this is working, but it makes me feel like a professional. Okay, Ashley, if your mic is working, can you finish that interview for us? We got no mic on you. We're going to come back to hear more about Magic Cropped. It was cropped too soon. We're now gonna meet Team Foambusters.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Christoph, and along with Eddie, Davis, and Jaime, we are
Team Foambusters.
EIFS is a widely used insulation material within the commercial construction industry. And during its installation process, this stuff gets everywhere. And I mean, no joke, it gets everywhere. It is literally like the glitter of the construction industry.
Construction teams around the nation are working to try to contain the dust and debris from this installation, and we're helping them solve this problem. All of our customer discovery, we visited a lot of construction sites, and time after time again, EIFS kept getting brought to our attention, and we decided this is the problem we were supposed to be solving. Foambusters deserves to win the InVenture Prize because we've done our research, we've tested our product, got overwhelmingly positive feedback from our customers, and have a national market ready and excited to use our product.
All right, who are you gonna call? Foambusters! Thank you, it was right there. All right, Team Foambuster is not messing around, literally. Let's see if they clean up. Team Foambuster, the stage is yours, and I think this mic is yours. I think this is what we're gonna use.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Do it.
All right. So we all see construction sites on a daily basis in our hometowns. Construction sites are everywhere. During the construction process, there's a very important step, which is the installation. Installation is what's allowing us to sit here tonight and being nice and cozy. This over here is eaves. It's a polystyrene-based insulator that is widely used in both residential and commercial projects because it's very cheap, it's very efficient, and it's very easy to install. Now, when it's being installed, it has to be rasped. Rasping is this process of removing material to make the surface level and flat, just like sanding, so you can put the exterior finish on the outside. And this is what the rasping process currently looks like.
Ooh.
As you can see, it makes a mess, right? Now imagine you're a construction worker working 8 hours a day getting covered in this stuff, and then you have to clean it up. Now say you're working 16 stories up, insulating the top floor of a building, and the wind's blowing it down the street, and you have to go clean that up as well. As a contractor, you're required to keep both your construction site and your neighboring streets clean. If not, you face government fines, such as from the EPA, because this stuff is not biodegradable and can harm the environment. So as a contractor, you have two options. You can either put up a net around your entire construction site, or you can spend thousands of dollars on a vacuum-based rasp, which only collects about 50% of the material and weighs up to 50 pounds. Now, I'm a big guy, but I would not want 50 pounds on my back 8 hours a day. After that, you have to pay your workers to sweep and vacuum the street and the site just to avoid these fines. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and that is where the Foambuster comes in.
And let us show you how it works. As you can see, there's a huge difference. The Foambuster collects an average of 50% more foam than the current leading solution on the market today. Now, at first glance, these two tools may look very similar, but let me explain to you why our tool works better than anything else that's out there. Our tool uses a patent-protected blade system called directional blade cutting. As you rasp in any direction, the angled blades are able to pull the foam particles inward through large holes, allowing the Foambuster to passively collect and deposit debris into an easily removable containment bag. Because it doesn't require any power, contractors can work with this tool anywhere they want to on their site. This is what makes the Foambuster unique from its competitors. Not only does it not require power and outperform every single containment solution presently available on the market, but at only $400 a unit, it sells for a fraction of the price of these tools that really barely even work. As a brand new LLC, we have now shipped our tools out to 3 contracting companies nationally. We also have an Atlanta-based contracting company who has asked us to buy 2 of our prototypes immediately after they tested on their site. And I wanted to give it to them, but they were literally the only 2 prototypes we had at the time, so I had to take them back. We are also speaking to Windlock, a national distributor within the industry who is interested in selling our product at the wholesale level. With that being said, judges, we are ready to bring this patent-protected tool into an industry that is absolutely begging to be disrupted.
Boom.
And we hope that you join us.
Boom.
Thank you.
All right. All right, judges. It's now time to see if Team Foambuster will be the cream that rises to the top of the InVenture Prize. I will turn things over to you, and then I'll hand this back to y'all. David, you started out in construction safety products, right?
Yeah. I actually have a patented safety product that
well.
is sold through a distributor just like what you're trying to do. And of course, who doesn't love a demonstration, right? That was really fantastic. Thanks for doing that. One of the things I wanted to know, because on construction sites, the workers don't always use the tools the way they're intended. So have you been able to observe workers using your tool in various different ways which was not intended, and is it still functional?
So we did do a first initial round of testing with a contractor here in Atlanta, and we got to watch them test our product. The reference of 16 floors is because I actually went up 16 floors with them to test it. And it worked out as we were hoping to. As of this morning, we also heard back from another contractor who've done the testing, and they said it performed exactly how we said it would. So we got some really, really positive feedback from them testing it for us.
Well, I just want to let you know, walking around Midtown, and going out to lunch, you probably experienced the same thing. It's raining down on you, and you don't know whether.
Oh my God, my dandruff! What?
Very chunky today, right? You don't know whether to cover your nose. Are you going to suck it up into your brain, or what's going to happen, right? So, so I appreciate your demonstration. Thank you.
Daria, do you have a question?
Yeah, what is your go-to-market strategy? And when you think about how quickly you can scale, how are you thinking about that? How many units can you produce in a year? And what's your strategy in terms of where to go first? Is it regional or some other segment?
Absolutely. So as of now, we would be going directly to consumer. We're working closely with EMA, who's the industry association. Through them, we've been able to develop some very strong and wide networks with contractors. That's how we got our testing, through them. We're also talking to Winlock, who'd be able to do large-scale manufacturing distributing for us. In terms of scaling, right now we've only done our small one-off productions. We are looking to ramp up our manufacturing depending on the investment and the amount of money we need for that.
Colby, I don't want you to have FOMO, so it's your turn.
So your product is very simple, which I actually really like. That's great. I was wondering if you could maybe speak on all of the different iterations and designs and prototypes that got you to this product you have here now.
Yeah, so we probably went through about 20 different prototypes and really started out, breaking down the problem into the most basic elements, just so we could understand on a fundamental level what we needed to accomplish. We tried vacuum rollers, just the side to sweep the particles inwards. We tried different fan configurations, even electrostatic charging. And ultimately what we ended up on was the simplest solution that we found with the directional cutting teeth. And so contractors love this because it's almost identical to the tools that they're already using on site. So there's practically no learning curve, and it works just like it's advertised. And we see that through our contractor feedback.
David?
Return on investment. What is the real benefit to the contractor? I know you said the device is less expensive. I know there's some environmental fines. Is that part of the drive for them to use a more efficient product? And then what is really the speed at which this works compared to the other? There's a lot of questions, sorry.
No worries. Okay. So absolutely, so the main advantage is by collecting majority of the material as they're rasping, it reduces the amount of time they have to invest into cleaning up. So that should save them a lot of time and a lot of money. And then with avoiding these fines, it's not just the fines, it's also work stop orders, because if they make a mess, they have to stop construction to clean up. And that can really mess up your schedule in construction, and that's honestly the worst thing that can possibly happen. So that's the main incentive for that.
What about 45 seconds, Colby?
Thinking about your business as a whole here, but you're selling this device, but you're putting this foam in a bag. Are there uses for what these contractors could, maybe your business could pick up for monetizing the foam in a bag
Absolutely.
as well?
So our business model has two rasps right now. This is our 42-inch, and we also have an 18-inch rasp. Then our bags are also sold separately so they can buy them through us. And then in terms of foam that we collect, right now there's no use for recycling it, but during our prototyping we used acetone to melt it down into this paste that some companies do buy it. So that is something that we will be exploring in the future.
Right at time. Nice. You came in right then. I think we would all like additional information about this team. So for more, let's visit again with Ashley.
Live TV, baby, but I'm back. I'll get back to that in just a second. First, I want to finish my interview with Samuel Ellis. We were on a roll here. You're telling me how Magic Crop, to go back to the prior invention, how you guys are using it with SGA here at Tech. So tell me more.
Yeah, so we're constantly meeting with campus partners, and we tell them to check out our website. So it needs to look good. And Megan is our VP of IT, so she decided to try out Magic Crop for all of our headshots on the website, and they came out looking amazingly. It is incredibly easy to use. It looks good, which is huge for someone in technologically adept as I am.
Oh, I relate to that 100%. If I try to crop my own pictures, I end up with a magic crop top. It's bad news. So keyword, guys, tonight for this team is magic. And thank you, Samuel. You can take your seat now. I'm going to cycle in my next interviewee. Come on over, Amy. Now we're picking up where we were. Everybody, this is Amy Spinks. She's the National Business Development Manager for Windlock, and she's here to bust the myth that construction must be such messy business. Amy, you have construction boots on the ground. How would this tool innovate the industry?
Thank you, Ashley. This tool could be great for the construction industry. I've been hearing for decades how contractors are so annoyed by these beads. You know, where I'm from, you can't even have these beads on the ground. It could even deter a contractor from using that type of material. So this tool could really be a game changer.
You can't have those beads on the ground in Savannah.
Right.
Right. That's very different from New Orleans. Beads everywhere. To vote for this team for People's Choice, text keyword foam when voting opens later in the show. All right, Faith, where are we going next?
I am glad you asked, Ashley. Our next finalist is here to discuss how to improve one of America's greatest pastimes. No, not baseball, it's shopping. Let's meet Team Tabnam.
Hi, I'm Daksh. Hi, I'm Suhun. I'm Ethan. I'm Davis. And we are
Team Tabnam.
A few months ago, I bought a pair of headphones online. Before I bought them, I looked at the reviews, and they were very positive. When I finally got the headphones, I had a very different experience within the first few weeks. They often dropped calls, had Bluetooth connectivity issues, and so on. And I wondered, why was this not something I got out of the product reviews? When we all talked about this, we realized because product reviews are broken. They're often only written within a couple of days of buying the product, and they rarely have information about what the product is like to use over the long term. We realized that there had to be a better way. Tabnam was our project for our Create X class last semester. When the semester ended, we realized that we were so passionate about this problem that we had to keep working on it. And the more we worked on it, the more we realized this has the potential to be a billion-dollar business.
All right, Tabnam, we get it. Shopping isn't perfect yet. So let's learn how you plan to optimize the shopping experience. My credit card and I are listening.
Wonderful. We have all bought products online that ended up not being what we expected. Maybe you bought a TV online with great reviews that ended up having screen glitching issues 6 months later. Maybe you bought a pair of headphones with fantastic reviews that right after the warranty ended had Bluetooth connectivity issues. I have a story too. I bought a laptop from Dell about a year ago. It had perfect reviews, 4.7 stars on Amazon, and it was one of CNET's top 3 laptops of 2020. The first few months, smooth sailing. But about 6 months in, I had a completely different experience. I found that it often had problems with the touchpad and often had problems with the screen glitching. And I wondered, why was this something that I did not know before I bought the product? Because after hours of digging through Reddit and social media, I found that a lot of people had the exact same problem with the exact same model. Well, it's because product reviews are broken. There's 3 reasons for this. The first one is that they're often sparse. This computer only has about 50 reviews. That's not enough for a product this complicated. The second reason is that they are often incomplete. Most product reviews are written within a couple of days of when the product is purchased. They don't reflect what it's like to use the product over a longer period of time. We knew that there had to be a better way to do this, so we built Tabnam. People talk about their experiences with products online all over the internet, on Reddit, on social media, and on tech forums. They complain when the products don't work properly. They often write on troubleshooting threads asking for help when things go wrong, and people make recommendations to their friends. Tabnam sifts through this vast array of data and extracts valuable information from it to create a summary of reviews and opinions of the internet. Let's go back to that laptop that I purchased. It looks great. Very solid reviews, very high ratings, but when you click on the Tabnam extension, you see a completely different story. Tabnam looks for mentions of the product across the internet and extracts the common problems that people have faced in the past and tags them based on which aspect of the product they're talking about. For example, 7 people had problems with the display, 3 people had problems with the keyboard, and so on. It does the same thing for reviews, where it does AI-generated reviews that does sentiment analysis on these reviews and tells you, for example, people had a generally positive overview of the build quality, but a generally negative view of the gaming performance of the computer. Our solution is dramatically better than existing product reviews. They tell you what the product is like in the long term and are much more resilient to fake reviews. Tabnam can prevent you from wasting your money on products that break right after the warranty ends, wasting your time on needless product research, and wasting your time on the hassle of returning broken items.
Our patent-pending algorithm is fantastic at sifting through this data and extracting truly valuable information from it. We are giving you the collective experience of everyone who has ever used a product at your fingertips. So when you're shopping online, you can be sure that what you see is what you get. Thank you.
All right, judges, I know you'd like to, well done. I know you'd like to ask me about all the sweet deals I got on my new spring wardrobe, but those questions will have to wait. Let's start with Colby.
I could talk to you guys about product reviews all day long because they drive me crazy on my website. Your product is a lot more integral than I originally thought. And congrats on that because it looks great. But how are you going to monetize that?
That's a great question. We actually are not planning to charge our users for these products. Our business is going to be more business to business. What we realized is that a lot of the times companies want to know how their consumer-facing products are doing. And often the ways to do this are things like focus groups and asking people to fill out surveys. This can be expensive and the quality of the data is not very high. We found a way to take existing opinions that people expressed online, which are often very comprehensive, and extracting useful information from that. We plan to sell this to businesses as a way of doing continuous, scalable, and automated customer research.
Daria?
So why would a business, one, be motivated in connecting to Tabnam? Because it makes transparent all the things that are wrong with their product, whereas overall reviews give a diluted and perhaps helpful for their sales view of the picture. And two, would this still work if you couldn't get Amazon on board?
That's a great question. This laptop that I purchased and ended up having a terrible experience with was something that I told a lot of people. And I'm sure that other people who bought this laptop would have also said this to other people. Over time, all these opinions are going to reduce their sales, and Dell would not necessarily know why their sales are going down. You can tell from reviews why people are buying your product, but Tabnam can tell you why people aren't buying your product, and that's a very important piece of information for a company to have.
It's like a good therapist. Tell you what you're doing
Exactly.
wrong. And then the second question about Amazon. Can this work without Amazon?
Yes, we actually want to integrate our services into retail websites. At the end of the day, if you're going to buy a laptop on Amazon, you will eventually buy a laptop. And allowing some retail websites to give you a more in-depth understanding of what is the information you need to make a better purchasing decision is beneficial to any retail platform.
David.
Yeah. So a question about something really kind of old school, like going back into a store and shopping for things. And if I'm there at the shelf and I see this Dell PC, can I scan the UPC code and then get your review on the spot right before I purchase?
We do use UPC codes in our backend, but we have not built that functionality, and that would be something that we definitely look into.
Okay.
I think you mentioned at one point that the user would maybe need to install an extension to their browser, but you were selling this to the seller, and they sell through Amazon or Shopify. So would you also have to convince every person purchasing on the internet to install the extension?
Well, initially we would have this as a browser extension that people can use, and at the moment that it is available on the Chrome Web Store and can allow you to use this on any shopping website. But we can have companies such as Amazon and Shopify buy a version of this that installs itself into their computer and embeds itself into their website.
Yeah, David.
So some of these extensions have loyalty programs built into them, right? You get points, you can then convert those into purchasing products. Is that part of what you're considering?
That's a great question. We want to make sure that we're a completely unbiased source for reviews, so we don't want anything that could possibly affect our judgment. We want to make sure that when someone reads our data sheet, they can know for sure that we're not motivated in making a sale or maximizing points. We're telling you exactly what you need to know in a completely unfiltered fashion.
We got about 45 seconds.
How do you plan to make money?
Oh, we want to sell as a subscription to businesses so they can use this as a customer research tool. While we're doing the consumer-facing product, that'll help us take analytical data from users. For example, if they're spending a lot of time reading a certain passage about battery, companies can understand that battery is the main consideration people are making before they decide not to buy the product. And this kind of nuance is not something they can gather from a focus group.
David.
So is there an iteration by which you can use your data to help with future product design, which could be another service?
That's exactly right. That's exactly our plan. So companies that iterate products every year, for example, would find this very useful because they can, instead of focusing on what the competition is doing, they can know what are the aspects of their product that are working and what are the aspects of their product that are not working.
Thank you. Thank you, judges. And Ashley will now discover how Team Tabnam got on the American Dream Express vis-a-vis the opportunity to play the MasterCard in disrupting the online shopping experience. And I am all out of credit card puns, Ashley, so please take it away from me now.
That was impressive, Faith. I'm not. Cut to the chase. We're keeping tabs on Tabnam. Who hasn't been catfished on the internet? Personal story. And Elise Mignon says she has learned her lesson. Elise, tell us what Tabnam revealed about a product you'd already purchased online.
Sure, I had a laptop that had some keyboard sticking issues, and when I looked it up on Tabnam, everyone had the same issue, and I probably wouldn't have bought it if I had known ahead of time.
Should have checked there first, right? But you did buy something recently that was a successful buy. Would you show us what you bought?
I actually looked this spandex material shirt up on Tabnam before buying it, and everyone loved it, and so I knew I had peace of mind that I was buying a good product.
It is a great product, and I personally always read reviews before buying spandex. That's important to note. People's Choice, team keyword here is TAB. You're going to text that to 415-965-7445 when People's Choice voting opens. Faith?
Approximately 50 teams entered our competition this year, and just because they all couldn't be finalists doesn't mean their road to the InVenture Prize has ended. This is Georgia Tech, after all, the home of We Can Do That. Trust me when I tell you that many of the aforementioned teams will continue to improve their innovation, which means we may very well see them again. Who knows? Maybe next year.
Let's bounce.
Hello. Nice to meet you. We had this idea. Do you have any of those designs here today?
We're Team Just Keep Swimming, and we've invented a robot.
A diagnostic robot.
A modern community-based solution to safety awareness.
Nothing exists in this power size.
We created a synthesizer that you can walk up to and play.
It feels like your focus is all over the place.
A protective barrier to shield from radiation.
A custom subsea winch.
A supersonic, unmanned, long-range strike aircraft.
I kill cockroaches using high-voltage plasma.
Yes! Still just wondering why you need this.
It one-shots a cockroach.
We have a solution that will help save lives.
Electric vehicles are the future, and people need to charge their cars.
Who is actually going to pay for this?
Thank you.
I cannot wait to see how those teams improve upon their innovations. Speaking of making improvements, our next team is literally making strides in physical therapy. It's time to meet Team StrideLink.
Hi, I'm Neil.
I'm Tony.
I'm Cassie.
And I'm Zia, and we are
Team StrideLink.
Every year, millions of Americans suffer from various neurological conditions and physical injuries that result in them having an impaired walking ability. For many of these people, they'll go see a physical therapist to restore their normal function. My team and I have talked with over 50 physical therapists and researchers, and what we learned is that despite the importance of these assessments, in the majority of clinics, they're still conducted entirely by the naked eye. My team is here to fix that.
You might be familiar with some consumer-facing activity monitors, but we've found that these only give you metrics such as step count. Clinicians need something that goes much further than this.
We envision the StrideLink device becoming a fundamental tool, unlocking never-before-seen insights on gait while being at the forefront of remote healthcare.
Okay, here now to tell us about their strive to strike it big is Team StrideLink.
Every year, millions of Americans enter physical therapy due to injuries that impact their walking ability. Throughout the course of their recovery, a physical therapist will regularly assess how they walk in order to determine the severity of these patients' injuries and track their progress throughout the course of treatment. However, despite the importance of these assessments, in the majority of clinics, they're still conducted entirely by the naked eye. My team has talked with over 60 experts, and what we learned is that the lack of objective measures makes tracking patient progress week to week incredibly difficult and stands as a significant barrier with them communicating with their patients. To solve these problems, we've created the StrideLink device, which through a pair of discrete sensors that attaches to each shoe, collects relevant information on gait symmetry. Now, the metrics that this device collects may be unfamiliar to you, but physical therapists spend years studying them in order to conduct these assessments. With this complexity in mind, let's walk through a clinical workflow of how a physical therapist would use this device. They would start by attaching the device to the patient, or in this case, Neil, and then the patient is able to walk around freely while the device is recording data. Now we can all see that Neil's walking with a discrete limp, but he's showing other signs of asymmetry that our technology makes it possible to track. So this data then gets uploaded to an online portal, which can be seen here. And then Neil's physical therapist throughout the course of recovery would check to see these difference bar graphs decrease, these pie charts begin to mirror each other, and this asymmetry index move closer to 0. These are all signs of a measurable recovery. But the importance of this device goes way beyond the metrics that it collects. Let's hear from Dr. Rudd.
I'm excited to use StrideLink to help us objectify gait measures in a way that will help us guide our intervention, encourage our patients in their time of recovery, and also show us when gait symmetry is achieved. Gait symmetry is important to prevent future compensation, but also allows us to move on to more advanced intervention with our patients.
We're currently testing this device in clinic right now with Dr. Rudd, and we've already completed a pilot with another local clinic during which this device was used on 5 patients. We are actively developing this device for remote monitoring, and we already have a device that is fully functional for in-clinic usage. I recently flew to Children's Hospital Colorado, one of the best clinical gait labs in the country, to discuss them using this device in their remote monitoring program. Our team's journey started over a year ago in undergraduate capstone, and we've been committed to seeing this invention help people since. We envision the StrideLink device becoming a key tool, capable of unlocking new insights on gait while being at the forefront of remote healthcare.
All right, judges, I believe Team StrideLink is ready to step into your questions. Juria.
Well, first of all, I'm rooting very hard for this to work because 2 years ago, I had knee surgery and my husband is at home with a torn ACL. Yep. So with that being said, my question is around how detailed and nuanced the data is. I mean, totally understand the relevance of normal symmetry and gait, but as an example, my physical therapist told me there was something about my hips and how I'm compensating and things that I need to do to correct that as a result of the injury. So talk a little bit about how detailed the data is and how far into the recovery it can be helpful, or is it really the first 6 weeks or something like that?
I'll let Cassie take this one.
Yes, so one of the things we did hear from physical therapists is that gait is kind of like a bottom-up indicator, which is why we chose the placement of the devices that we did, which is on the feet. And so from there, you're able to see it like kind of propagates up like knees, hips, and even lower back. And this can be used throughout the progress of treatment. And one of the big selling points for this device is the progress tracking abilities. So to be able to see week 1, you might, as we saw in the data in the dashboard, the bar graphs might be a little bit more asymmetrical, and then seeing you achieve that symmetry, and potentially it could be things like, is it getting worse, is it getting better, is it being maintained? So they'll look for that throughout treatment.
And just as a follow-up, is your target primarily therapists, or do you think that this could be a direct-to-consumer product as well?
So that is one of the great things about this device, is that it does have broad use case, but it is also a medical device. So we are targeting that market to be clinicians and therapists.
Colby?
I'm just kind of confused as to why you need to have an actual hardware device and why you can't just strap an Apple Watch or a Fitbit and extract the data off of that.
I love this question. Absolutely love this question. So there is a lot more, I think, than what meets the eye to a design like this. One of the biggest things that any sensor person will tell you about is noise, and how you have to have a really crisp, clean signal to actually get these asymmetry measures. So everything down to the placement, to the sampling rate, so at what interval are we actually collecting this data, and then on top of that we have all of our own algorithms actually further processing this data. This application requires the specialized hardware we built and the specialized software we built.
And can I actually add to that?
Yeah, of course.
So, and actually we just recently saw a validation study on Apple's device, because Apple isn't being very public about what they're doing with it. But they compared it to a clinically tested device, and on some metrics, their device was up to 10 and sometimes up to 50% off of the clinical metrics. So it's not something that can really be used in a clinic. You need something more dedicated, and that's what we've created.
We have a little over a minute, David.
So I'm really curious about revenue model. So we have a device, and then you have this software that you developed that's collecting data at every meeting or every event with the therapist. Do you have models for both of those pieces of really what I consider intellectual property for you?
Yes, we do. So, and that's exactly where you're taking it. So we are charging for the device about $35 per unit, and then we're charging a monthly remote monitoring fee of $30 per patient. These are completely covered by reimbursement codes, if anyone is familiar with Center Medicare Medicaid Services and healthcare reimbursement. So one of the really important things about this device is its ability to actually become a pretty significant revenue driver to these physical therapy clinics, because they stand to make almost an additional $200 a month by adopting this device for usage in their clinic, and that's just with the current reimbursement codes, not including whatever will be passed in the future, looking at the trends with remote monitoring healthcare.
Great job, Team StrideLink. 4 seconds for applause even. Ready? Ashley is now standing by with a special guest for another look at this team.
Crowd goes wild. Faith, this next story makes me weak in the ankles. I'm joined by Benjamin Magandu, who is Neil's roommate. Ben, take us back to what happened one fateful night before an InVenture pitch.
Okay, so Neil and I normally climb, and that night he tried a new route, and then he injured his ankle. So he said it was kind of funny because they were supposed to simulate an injury for the next day's pitch, and I guess that's what got them there.
They didn't have to simulate it.
Yeah.
So Neil sealed the deal by falling head over heels for StrideLink. That's what happened. To vote for Team StrideLink, text keyword STRIDE to 415-965-7445 when People's Choice voting officially opens. That's just around the corner, Faith. Back to you.
I am confident that our next team will someday be a whirlwind in the insurance industry. You'll see what I mean when you learn more about Team Sola.
Hi, my name is Wesley.
And I'm Braden, and we are
Team Sola. Across the Midwest and Southeast region, there are approximately 1,200 tornadoes causing nearly $5 billion in damages every single year. Home insurance policies have limits and exclusions, leading the homeowner to paying immediate out-of-pocket expenses following a natural disaster. As a result, it makes it extremely difficult for homeowners to worry about buying the immediate essential items they need, as well as taking care of everyone in their family.
As engineers at Georgia Tech, we love finding solutions to complex problems.
And as a result, we became obsessed with how we could use data to solve these massive issues. Winning the InVenture Prize would mean showing the world that antiquated systems can be disrupted, as well as building awareness for startups that can improve societal resilience.
All right, here now to supplement the video you just saw, Team Sola is storming the stage to tell us more about their innovation.
Tornadoes can be devastating. They destroy homes and upend communities. In fact, the National Weather Service found that tornadoes cause nearly $5 billion in damages every single year, putting nearly 50 million US homeowners at risk. Now, let's zoom into the insurance claims process after one of these events. It can take weeks to months before the homeowner receives the money that they need. Additionally, all these home policies have limits and exclusions, making it extremely difficult for homeowners to pay for immediate out-of-pocket expenses like debris cleanup, groceries, gas, lost working hours, and more. For homeowners, a month is too long, and that's why Sola pays you within a few days. We built a supplemental insurance plan that utilizes National Weather Service data to figure out exactly where the most damaged areas are and pay out homeowners within a few days after the disaster. Just like a phone warranty or supplemental health insurance plan, we're that little add-on that makes a big impact. Our company was founded on the assumption that if we know there's damage in an area, why can't we just pay out these homeowners within a few days of the disaster? So now a little bit about my story. About 3 years ago, I interned at a flood insurance technology startup where I became acutely aware of this protection gap that exists after natural disasters. I also started to learn about how insurance companies use data to underwrite and pay out these homeowners within a few days. Through this experience, I realized no one was doing anything with tornadoes, and that's where we founded Sola. From there, we took 70 years of NOAA tornado data and over 100,000 tornadoes to develop our actuarial risk models that shows our exposure score, loss ratio, and historical payouts. Additionally, I got my insurance agency license, where I learned a lot more about the insurance industry from there. Through all of these achievements, we were able to garner the interest from a program called the Global Insurance Accelerator, where the sponsors of those programs were the insurance companies that we aim to partner with. Additionally, we were awarded a finalist position in the InsurTech Hartford Travelers Emerging Product category. Through all these achievements, we built an amazing team and a board of advisors who are InsurTech executives as well as serial entrepreneurs who brought us to our current model. And this is partnering with carriers to add on our supplemental solution to their main home insurance ecosystem. Now for our next steps. We currently sign contracts with reinsurance brokers who are currently partnering us up with capacity providers that are the ones backing our program, providing the payouts for our policies, and enabling us to launch. At Sola, it is our mission to help homeowners recover faster, and we're doing this through providing quick financial help after disasters. Thank you.
Well done, guys. I know the judges' heads are just swirling with questions for you, so let's hand things back over to our panel. Colby.
You guys are brilliant. In my distinguished age of 24 years old, it's been my experience with insurance that you don't necessarily make the money selling insurance, more so what you do with the money after you have it. Do you guys have any plans you set in place for that?
Yeah. So just as I spoke about, through all those actuarial models, there's a lot of partnerships that we need in place with the reinsurance capacity providers, the insurance companies that we're partnering with. So there's this whole kind of commission breakdown. And then that money that specifically goes back to us will be put into our development to build out more insurance distribution partners, access those millions of homeowners that I mentioned across the US, and then also develop new products that tackle other natural disasters and close that protection gap.
David? Sorry, Daria. Go ahead.
So I love this solution because it is clearly addressing a white space. What I'm curious about is what would prevent a big insurance company that has the same idea to actually just go scale the product and wipe you guys out?
Yeah, this is a great question. A lot of these insurance companies are so bogged down with their own systems that they're still trying to develop, that a lot of these carriers are partnering with insurtechs just like us because they know that we're the ones who are able to bring innovation and deliver a product to them that's easier for them to pay us than for them to build it themselves within-house.
David.
Yeah, so these actuarial calculations can be a little bit of a black box. And why $100? And is it specific to the tornado damage because it's so isolated? And then are you able to make enough money should there be a severe significant loss in an area?
Yeah, so with the 70 years of tornado data, we were essentially had our company running for 70 years. So we were able to use population data to figure out where the policyholders were and when the tornadoes would hit them. And based on that, we were figuring out how much each policyholder would get paid out. So we know exactly how much money we made each year and how much money we paid out. And even the worst years, like 2011, the years prior and before that made it up the risk. So it was easy to pay out. So we made money off of it.
Does that algorithm depend on the trajectory of increases in tornadoes or not? How are you factoring for that as you look into the future?
Yeah, so we're looking at all of these tornadoes. As I said, we looked over 25 states, we looked over 70 years. And tornadoes, while they're random in where they land, they're quite predictable in terms of the payouts that we would be expecting. And as I said, we took all that information to have the bad years outweigh the good years. And that's the only reason we're able to get into a lot of these programs and have these conversations with carriers and sign contracts with reinsurance brokers because they have that confidence in our models.
Are tornadoes expected to increase because of climate change?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. There's still a lot of research going on. Obviously, climate change is a big issue related to that. It's not exactly quite clear. I know even states like Georgia and other states, a lot of the main disasters have been kind of shifting over here, but in terms of like overall scope of the damage, it's not quite clear, but we've accounted for all of that in our models and worked with actuaries from Drake University. So.
Colby?
I love it when people are passionate about something. You guys clearly have passion for this. How does one get passion for insurance?
Yeah.
It's more about passion for solving a big problem that hasn't been solved yet, and these slow-moving insurance companies haven't really solved it, so we took it upon ourselves. I mean, that's kind of what we both love to do. I love that.
Yeah, as I mentioned in our video, these old industries are so fascinating to look at, and they are riddled with problems. And one, we just specifically took tornadoes and supplemental damage. Obviously, there are a lot of other natural disasters to look into, and that's exactly where we hope to go, and then partner with these carriers because we know that they have the access to the homeowners that we need to expand our business model to.
How many customers do you have today, and what do you think that growth looks like over the next 2 to 5 years?
And you got 10 seconds.
Okay, we're hoping to partner. We haven't launched yet. We're hoping to partner with these carriers by the summer and launch, and then expand to the hundreds of thousands of customers later. So.
Well done. Thank you, guys. While our judges get ready to make their decisions, a special guest is with Ashley to ensure we know all there is to know about Team Sola. Ashley?
Faith, almost 1 year ago in March 2021, an EF4 tornado ripped through the city of Noonan, Georgia. This is Noonan resident Chad Smith. Chad, tell us how that tornado hit home for you.
Well, 6 foot diameter oak tree fell right through the roof of our home we've been in for 23 years, right into my daughter's bed. And so just a traumatic event like that going on makes it hard to even think, hard to move. So having a policy like this, supplemental policy, takes a lot of the guesswork out of the equation, a lot of things you don't have to think about. And so would have been a great thing to have, and just given me a peace of mind during that time.
And everybody's okay, right?
Yes. I meant to say that.
That's what counts. To give this team People's Choice coverage and make this invention your Sola mate, text keyword Sola to 415-965-7445. And with that, we have concluded our team presentations and interviews, so it's time for the people to pick their favorite. People's Choice voting is now open. Thank you so much, Chad. You did great. To vote, text your favorite team's keyword to 415-965-7445. Don't forget, only one vote per device will count, and watch out for that pesky autocorrect. You have to spell your team's keyword correctly for the vote to count. Let's go over those keywords one more time, audience. To reward Team Reflex with a People's Choice Award, text the word Reflex. To make it happen for Team Magic Crop, that keyword is magic. If you think Team Foambuster deserves the honor, bring it home by texting the word foam. If your choice is Tabnam, text the keyword tab. To vote for Team StrideLink, show your pride by texting Stride. And finally, if you're pulling for Team Sola, even if you still use a Motorola, text the word Sola. Again, that number to text is 415-965-7445. You'll receive a confirmation text after you vote. But like I said, that one vote per device rule sticks, so make sure you stick to that. And speaking of those devices, if you're on your computer, you can also vote by visiting gpb.org/vote. Our People's Choice voting will only be open for a very short window, so get those keywords sent, and we'll have our results for you in no time. And with that, back to you, Faith.
Thank you, Ashley. As you can see, our judges have retreated to their posh and cozy soundproof chambers to begin their deliberations, but rest assured, we will see them again very soon with answers. In the meantime, it's safe to say that the only thing growing faster than our People's Choice voting numbers, vote now, don't delay, is the K-12 InVenture Prize. What's the K-12 InVenture Prize, you ask? Worry not, Ashley is standing by with some folks from Southwest Georgia to tell us about this inspiring program. Ashley?
We've all heard the expression, start 'em while they're young, and that's what the K-12 InVenture Prize is all about. Katie nods. Allow me to introduce Katie Chastain, K-12 InVenture Prize Program Facilitator for South Georgia, as well as Maggie Cromer and Logan Hardman, Washington Middle School participants, all the way from Cairo, Georgia. They came a long way for this. Maggie, tell us, what problem did you identify at your middle school?
I noticed something in the school nurse's office. There were EpiPens all over her desk and inhalers everywhere, and she only had a magazine rack to hold her medical supplies. I thought that it was very unorganized and not very safe, so we came up with a solution.
All right, I want to hear about that solution. Master Designer Logan, tell me what you came up with.
Well,
We invented the nurse purse as an organizational cabinet to hold inhalers and EpiPens, and it's made out of wood, and it was designed to help the nurse access it in one safe reach. We believe that this design is very practical.
Excellent. Thank you, Logan. Katie, you're a South Georgia facilitator for the K-12 InVenture Prize. Tell me about young minds in South Georgia. What's different about them?
Yeah, well, kids always design for their own unique context, and I think it's no different here. So their teammate that is not standing with us is Nolan, who lives on a sustainable homestead, and he just has a slew of inventions, from new pig feeders to new methods to clean his fish tanks. So I think depending on the context, our food supply depends on them.
It does. Thank you very much for your contribution to society. This is the spirit of InVenture, folks. To join the momentum, you're going to want to go online. Visit k12inventure.org. Faith, back to you.
Like the InVenture Prize participants before them, many of tonight's teams will grow their ideas into successful companies, potentially setting up shop in the East Coast's hottest technology hub, Atlanta's own Tech Square. This innovation destination was formally established just over 20 years ago, and as you're about to see, it's truly the place to be.
While many people know about Georgia Tech's entrepreneurial culture because of the popularity of the InVenture Prize, innovation has always been baked into Georgia Tech's DNA. And nowhere is that innovative spirit more evident than in Midtown's ever-expanding Tech Square.
Through the different student innovation programs, including CreateX, Georgia Tech is now helping our students create startups. When some of these startups become mature, they go to Tech Square, which is where they grow. A few months ago, we had our first company cross the $1 billion valuation.
Tech Square has the highest density of startups, corporate innovators, and research centers in the Southeast, with programs designed to help young companies thrive.
Engage is at the heart of Tech Square. We work with CreateX, ATDC, and other Georgia Tech programs to find the next wave of startups that are solving big enterprise challenges. We're partnered with category-leading corporations that are joined together with the common mission of elevating Atlanta and the Southeast as the next innovation hub.
And those established companies, along with the startups, are finding reasons to come to Tech Square too.
Being here in Tech Square at the ATDC of Georgia Tech has been tremendous for us. We intern students from the great population here, and our most recent hires are also from Georgia Tech. It's fantastic.
And that sentiment isn't lost on companies like Cisco, currently building out office space in this innovation hub.
Having experienced this community's exploding talent pool, we can't wait to open our doors here in Tech Square to begin hiring, collaborating with, and supporting the future generation of Cisco colleagues at every level.
Okay, if you have not yet cast your vote for the People's Choice Award, you have precious few moments left to do so. While you do, Ashley has moved backstage with the candidates to give us a sense of how they're feeling as they await tonight's results. Ashley, what's it like back there?
Their faces are promising, Faith, but I'm interested in their energy. So to help these teams manifest the best possible outcome for their innovation, we are going to practice intention setting. They're going to love this, these science minds. Something successful entrepreneurs do employ, material business practices to bring them to life. Are you ready for this? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want to hear a statement from each of you about where you see your invention in 5 years, and state it with conviction, okay? Are you ready? You first.
In 5 years, Reflex will be in every EMS program across the nation and be saving hundreds of lives every day.
I believed him. Megan?
Magic Crop will be a successful company with the software licensed to companies across the globe.
Beautiful vision. Foambuster.
The Foambuster will be on construction sites worldwide and be saving contractors millions of dollars each year.
Well, when you say millions, okay, Tabnam, what about you?
Millions of people will be using Tabnam to make sure that they can shop online with peace of mind.
StrideLink, what do you envision for your 5-year plan?
StrideLink will be in every physical therapy office and being used as a preventive screening tool to prevent potential injury.
In every office?
Every office.
Dream big. All right, Sola, we'll round it out with you. Tell us what your 5-year plan is for your invention. Let's go.
In 5 years, we will partner with hundreds of carriers and help millions of homeowners with new products that help them recover after natural disasters.
Sounds good to me. Can you feel the good vibrations, Faith? Back to you.
Yes, I'm so excited. Our judges have returned, which means that the People's Choice voting is closed. And before we reveal which teams are taking home tonight's prizes, let's get some insight into what impacted the judges' decisions. Okay, what was the most difficult part of your decision?
Picking number one.
Did you agree in the end?
And picking number two.
And picking number two. Did you have to duke it out? I mean, you didn't agree on what should be number one?
I don't think we duked it out.
We agreed on the contenders.
Yeah.
And then we took input from each other.
We were very, very confident, I think, about number one.
Yeah.
And then it came down to number two. It was just like, all of these teams are going to be incredibly successful, whether they were on the stage tonight or not. And that made it all that more difficult.
Amazing, amazing pitches.
Oh, yeah.
Just extremely talented students,
What was the
entrepreneurs.
deciding factor in the one that you agreed would be number one?
So we thought about passion, scalability, like how quickly they could get to really significant revenue. Did you have
To
some other thoughts?
market, and could they defend their position, what the market dynamics are?
Likelihood of success, but
Yeah.
I don't know what Georgia Tech is feeding their students these days, but I'm going to have to come back on campus and start eating the food.
And Colby, how did it feel to be a judge instead of a competitor?
It's a very interesting perspective because I knew exactly what they were feeling inside, and it was a little more relaxing to be over here. But
And what's the number one piece of advice, having seen all these pitches? What if you could advise next year's InVenture Prize?
so long as you're doing what you have passion for, you're going to be successful.
Well, thank you, judges, for your passion and your careful consideration and expertise tonight. You can now start mulling over your next important decision, which is, of course, what to eat from our craft service table. All right, I would now like to invite all of our finalists on stage and for our judges to please come down here and join me. And to assist in awarding of the prizes, we are joined by some third-place winners of the K-12 InVenture Prize. Yay! From Smyrna Elementary School, we have here the inventors of an app called Prideful that allows students who identify as LGBTQ+ to be able to chat with one another about how they are feeling. So please, thank you for being awesome human beings, and please help me welcome River Simonson, Anna Day, and Melon Brummett. Thank you. All right. You have very important jobs. It is now time for the moments we've all been waiting for, the announcements of tonight's winners. Let's start with our People's Choice Award, worth $5,000. Is that what you have? All right, you have the PC. You're giving me the envelope. Thank you very much. All right. And the winner, I love the sound of Velcro. And the winner of the 2022 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize People's Choice Award is Team Reflex. Congratulations. All right. Our second place winner will receive $10,000 as well as assistance in securing a patent. The envelope, if I may. Thank you very much. Second place in the 2022 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize goes to Team Foambuster. Congrats, y'all. That's a good mess. All right, may I hand this back to you? Thank you. All right, everybody. And now it's time to announce tonight's big winner, our first place team who will take home assistance in securing a patent, a spot in Georgia Tech's Create X startup launch program, and a check for $20,000. May I have the envelope, please? Can y'all do a little? All right, here we go. I am so proud to announce to you the winner of the 2022 Georgia Tech InVenture Prize, Team Sola. Congratulations! What does winning the InVenture Prize mean to you?
This means helping homeowners across the U.S. recover from natural disasters faster and proving that we can break into a complicated space.
And whom would you like to thank?
I would like to thank my mom and Caitlin.
Congratulations, y'all.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so to wrap it up, the People's Choice Award goes to Team Reflex. The second place goes to Team Foambuster, and first place is Team Sola. And that'll wrap it up for us. What a wonderful show and a great way to celebrate another year of amazing innovation. And if you crave even more innovation competition, the ACC InVenture Prize will be, yeah, you gotta get ready for that, will be broadcast live on April 2nd at 7 p.m. So mark it on your calendar. And I hope we've inspired you to get busy innovating too. Congratulations to all of tonight's finalists, our People's Choice Award Reflex, second place Foambuster, first place Sola, and a big thank you to my co-host Ashley Mingwasser, to our judges, and to everyone who watched and supported our program, and of course to the stalwart production crew and everyone at Georgia Tech who worked so hard to execute this year's show. And never forget, necessity may be the mother of invention, but Georgia Tech is your daddy. Good night.
Funding for this program was made possible in part by Georgia Center of Innovation for Manufacturing, Georgia Tech Research Corporation, and the Georgia Institute of Technology.